waved as I passed him, and he just smiled at me. Just like I always remember, just as happy as could be. A holler child raised in the wild, I swear there ain't no telling how many chickens he fought or tear his yard. I can still hear him rebel yelling. He loved tobacco spit and not giving a shit about what the rest of the world was selling. Most of all, I remember him being a good old fella. He could ride a dirt bike as good as he shot the three. He was faster than everybody when we were all 13. Well, he scored a bunch of touchdowns when he was on my team. He said goodbye to number one for a stand-up in a tree. A holler child raised in the wild, I swear there ain't no telling how many chickens he fought or dare he shot. I can still hear him rebel yelling. He left tobacco spit and not giving a shit about what the rest of the world was selling. Most of all, I remember him being a good old fella.
Nicholas Jamerson,
How are you?
let me take a look at you, man. I haven't seen you in maybe like a year.
Yeah.
The new and improved Nicholas Jamerson. I gotta say, new style. You look physically good, mindful, living in the present.
Trying to.
You are a serious machine. Am I correct? Like you cut back on so much stuff. You're eating well. You look great, right?
I feel really good. I have cut out alcohol entirely, and it's been a game changer.
I love it. Like you wake up early now, right?
Yeah, usually with a 2-year-old yelling at me. You know.
Perfect. Perfect. You know what? Now you're on my team, Nick. 5 a.m. up, 8 o'clock alive. We're covering that show. Lights out.
Yeah, I'm really I am actually trying to get up before her now to just, you only have so many hours in the day, so there's a lot going on, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. How hard was it to stop, Nick? To stop, like, completely, smoking and the occasional marijuana and all that stuff. How hard was that?
it really came down to what do I want to do? What do I want to get done? And it really got to the point I was so busy that I couldn't. I just didn't have room for it. I didn't. I didn't have the energy last year to do everything that I wanted to do, to be able to show up and play shows and give the energy that I want to give. So it was just like I was too busy for it, so, and I play this game where it's like, well, this would be a time I would drink, like Sundays at B-dubs, eating wings and, watching football. I'm like, yeah, this would be a time that I would.
Right.
And I don't think that it'd been a long time since I had abused it, but, still, it was just, you drink over the course of a weekend gigging 2 or 3, and I was getting home and I was just tired. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just part of the evolution, Nick. I mean, as a songwriter, it's a whole different you. You got to change. I mean, when you put something like Star City Sessions, you were what, like in your early 20s, mid-20s when you put that out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you've been writing music forever. But yeah, I look at the evolution of you, Nick, proudly from a distance as you get older. And this new album, man, Peace Mountain, out my May 19th, loved it so much, Nick. Man, congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. And I wanted to ask you actually about that, because, for most of my life, I gotta tell you, I believe that people are kind of like born with like the natural craft of songwriting, but I feel like you're always working at it. and you're consistently getting better, whether it's like an athlete going to the gym or whatever. Songwriting is like a craft that always needs to be like worked on, right?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at. For me, I've honestly, I think that I kind of choked the life out of it for a while, so I think it's good. You can work on it by not doing it, if that makes sense. Like, I think that it's important. I think for me, I was just so in to writing that I wasn't leaving space for living, if that makes sense. I wasn't giving myself time to experience things and reflect. I was just always in songwriter mode. So I think that for me, yeah, I'm always working on it, but what working on it is looks different. It sometimes I have to step away from it because I just, you can, just like anything else, I think you can I think depend on that for happiness, like songs can be the barometer for my happiness, or it was for a long time, so um and I think, yeah, that taking a step away from it allows for, like you said, for learning and new perspective and just,
Yeah.
you know.
I just feel, Nick, like you've always, look, more than most of us, and this is something that I can learn, that we can all learn, is to enjoy the process or the journey.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because if you're a songwriter, you're always, I don't know, measuring yourself with charts or number of streams or awards, whatever, or any profession. But I feel like something clicked, and you've become way more mindful of the journey.
Yeah, I wasn't going to last. I wasn't going to last the way that I was doing things. It's I feel like I'm I've been playing music my whole life. I feel like I've been gigging for 20 years, and there's a lot of ups and downs, and I've experienced more than I think more than I even dreamed. And then it's like when you accomplish things or you experience these big moments and you get on the other side of that, it's like, well, now what?
Mm.
It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like I was just consuming life and just trying to get to the next thing. And then, it's exhausting, sort of processing things that way. So,
Right. It was like a quick rush, basically, but
yeah,
nothing.
get somewhere to get to this imaginary place. It's like,
Yeah.
and I've gotten to places, I've achieved things, and it's created stability in my life as far as like my career goes. But at the end of the day, I have to still figure out how to be content
Right. Absolutely.
day to day, so.
Yeah. Right on, Nick. Very well said, man. I do want to ask you about this guy, Allum Cornier. Rest in peace. Because I once talked to, many years ago, to Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, and I thought of you because, like you, he had a music person who, at a crucial point in his life, said to him, you are that good. You can become a professional songwriter. And he was like, no kidding.
Yeah.
Was that kind of like the situation with All?
Yeah. Yeah. So Alan is his name. It was him and a guy named Roger Allen Wade, another songwriter. I was searching. I was just trying to find my way in this music thing, and I'd never been around any songwriters. It was always just musicians, these really high level musicians. But
You played sports. You were like a little bit of a jock.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, but I arrived there, my college football coach, my first year at the University of Pikeville, he left after my first year, and we had bonded over music, and he was a songwriter, and he was living in the Johnson City area, and he brought me down to Johnson City for the Blue Plum Festival, and that whole scene, that was just a more developed scene at the time than Kentucky didn't really have a scene at the time. And Yeah, so I went down there and I played, I think it was Newman's bar. It was this huge, pool hall in Johnson City that Kenny Chesney played when he was at ETSU, and, it was just a whole different world for me, and Alan was there, and, got to play with him and spend the weekend with him, and, yeah, it was just kinda on from there. It was like, okay, I think another thing for humans is if we can see something, it makes it real, and that's how we learn, and, yeah, it was just kinda from then on, it was on for me as far as, like, what I wanted to do, and just yeah, he was super encouraging, and I just he was so good, and just for some like you said, someone to just say just to affirm you, there's just man, there's so much value in that. You can really change people's lives by just giving an encouraging word.
Sure. In the right moment, in the right time. Absolutely. Man, so many great new songs in this record. I only have time to talk about a couple, but Nick, like for example, Watching the Fire Burn, what a great song. But I love the song. I mean, they're all great, Nick, but sonically, I love this because it kind of reminds me of like a little bit of like the Joshua Tree, where like you created like a sonic landscape with this song. And immediately it's like, holy shit, is this the same Nick Jamerson? Like, it's beautiful, man. Um, and then apart from the research, we saw that you studied a little bit on the Riot Tether, you did a little bit of a course there, but tell us a little bit about this song. It's a nice little switch there.
Yeah, I really with this record in general, I just really wanted to use the studio as an instrument and really explore sounds and not just not get caught up in any sort of direction. We just wanted to make I just wanted to make something. I was at that point last year where I wanted to make something and to use all the skills that I had been working on. And like you said, I took a class with Ryan Tedder. It was a songwriter class back in 2020, and just introduced me more to the production world and building songs through production. And because I've just kind of been, you know, I'm just acoustic. I'm usually just an acoustic, just simple kind of, guy in the studio. And um, I feel like I was boxing myself in. And so just taking that class and watching someone, I mean, he's a master at what he does, and in more of the pop world, and I never considered myself a part of the pop world or the commercial world. But after taking that class, I'm like, like I think there's elements of this that I can really add to my thing that I'm doing. And yeah, it was kind of like I was kind of nervous about it because listeners, they grow preconceived notions for who people are supposed to be and how they're supposed to sound. And but I've had nothing but love from people with that song, and they call it the churched up version, which that's fine. I think that a good song will stand, no matter what the delivery is, if the song's good enough. And I was fortunate enough to have the Mountain Art Center so close by. Brennan Meek helped me produce the record, and just a cast full of local musicians that helped bring it to life. So it was a fun process.
Love it, Nick. Well, man, I know you got a lot going on. You're a family man. But let me leave you with this. I have to ask you about Sleeping in the Woods Music Festival. We're super stoked about it. May 19th, 20th, Monticello, Kentucky. Our sister Britt Taylor, as well as Bella White, B. Taylor, Ben Down, Eric Bolander, just a great selection of people you got there, man. How has that been like, putting that process? Because I know, people see the poster and they don't know the work behind it, right?
Yeah, I can't take credit for. I feel like I just assembled the team, and John Smithwick there at Hidden Ridge, and Dust and Pet and my management team, they've done a lot of the legwork. It's pretty surreal, honestly, that I could just take this vision for this event and people be so willing to bring it to fruition. For me, it feels like all these different circles that I've found myself in over the last 20 years. The idea was, let's bring it all together, and that's been the process of the record too, was just like, let's just take these pieces from all over and bring it together, and by default, it's going to be something brand new and
Right.
Inspiring. I'm looking forward to just being around all these artists and being in it for 2 or 3 days, and
That'll be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be real fun.
Great location, great people. Nick Jamerson, man, it's great to reconnect. Thank you for all you do, with your art and with your spirituality. People are getting inspired by your example. So thank you, Nick.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
All
it.
right. See you, man.
Hey, buddy.